because I could have stayed in an era of depression when I lost my job in March. I could have stayed there because now you're going months and months and months and months, 6, 7 months now without a job. I could have allowed myself to stay in those depressions, in that depression state, which I did for a while. But I allowed myself to start filling myself up with my faith, my family, and my friends. And that's where things weren't coming back together, but they gave me another sense of purpose and reminded me of who I was. And what was I doing consistently then? Investing in those right people. And that's who I was connected to. And that's where the reestablishing of Marcus became in 2025. Still no job. Still not the full income that I'm used to having. Still got the bills piling up. Still got life happening. Still trying to make payment arrangements on life. But I had a sense of still belonging because I started to invest my time and my energy in certain places. And so it's always important when you're in those places of uncertainty and doubt, and who are you surrounding yourself with? And that's what I invested in 2025. And now I had to ask myself, honestly, when did I drift? Excuse me. Were there other moments of 2025 when I started to find myself drifting? And then ask myself what caused it. And then I had to really think about that, because I just talked about how my job, losing my job, but then there were other areas where I started to drift. And I also said that there were moments in my life where I stopped being honest with me in 2025. I stopped being honest on what was motivating me to continue my podcast. What was motivating me to start writing a book? What was motivating me to start writing out agendas for summits? What was really driving me to do those things? And I had to be honest about the motives behind them. Because a lot of times we do things and our motives are not 100% pure. We can't chase things for the money. Like, that can't be the money and the popularity. That can't be the foundation of why we chase certain things in life. We should chase things. We should chase things like being trustworthy. I should chase things like being organized. I should chase things of being someone who keeps their word. Those are the types of things, and being consistent. Those are the types of things that wherever I go and whatever I do, the money will come, because I have certain foundational things about myself that I have put in place. And so those things started to drift. I started to do too much. I started to try to put my hands in so many other things, and I found myself drifting because they were starting to pull me away from the foundational things that got me started anyway. And that became a problem. And it goes back to asking, how do we drift? How do men drift? We don't drift because we don't care. Sometimes we start drifting because we are carrying too much alone. We don't drift because we don't care. We start to drift because we start carrying things by ourselves. And that can be a hindrance to anybody. Drifting looks like I'm staying busy instead of being present. Like, I'm doing all these other things, but I'm not really locked into anything. You're on this committee. You're on this committee. You agreed to do this. You're part of this organization. You told somebody you'll help them do this. You're doing so much stuff. You're so busy. But none of it is producing quality results. And that is a drifting for me. I have a savior complex. That is one of the biggest things that I've learned about myself. I have a savior complex. And 2025 put me in a lot of situations where I could not save people. Shoot, I was in a place where I was trying to figure out how I was going to save myself. And that was something that I had to check in 2025. We got to get rid of this savior complex. We got to get rid of this wanting to be on the scene complex. We got to get rid of these certain things, because what you really need to do, it can't be driven by that. And so I would continue to push in and push through and say I'm going to do this and say I'm going to do that. But I never just stopped to check in with Marcus. For those who are listening and you're not watching this on YouTube, there was a big exhaling that took place, and you could see it all on my face. Drifting doesn't make a big announcement like boom, 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 boom. You drifting. Boom, 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 boom. Get up. It's a whisper. It happens in little things. Like, my patience will start to get shorter with stuff. I'm drifting. I will start to pull away from people. I'm drifting. And by people, again, I'm going back to my faith, my family, and my friends. I started to pull away from them to do other things. So now I'm drifting. Overworking. Well, Marcus, how can you be overworking if you're saying that you wasn't working? Working is not always a job that you go clock in. I can be overworking doing some other things for other people. Finding ways to stay busy. Like, that's something that we typically do. We try to find ways to stay busy because sometimes we feel like busyness is the epitome of production or work. No, Martha, sit down and do something. Sit down somewhere. Okay. And or we stuff just start to get numb, or I just found myself getting easily agitated. All of those were signs of me drifting and not even knowing it at one time. It's just little telltale signs how I find myself getting away. And so a question that you have to ask yourself is, I know I'm drifting when I start what? What are the signs of me, insert your name, drifting? Sit with that. All right. So as we talked about all of these things in 2025, now I want you to ask yourself, what am I leaving? Intentionally, what am I leaving in 2025? Because some of those habits, some of those things I need to leave. I can't take them in 2026. And again, it doesn't mean that they're going to instantly, but I have to intentionally start to retrain my mind to say that these things I can't do it. And so, before you plant your flag and say, this is what I'm doing in 26, I want you to commit to being this. Okay? What do I mean?